So since I'm a reader, I missed Halloween last year, so I'm glad to be here. I know Halloween isn't for everybody, but this is something that's up my alley. I actually am a professional in writing horror theory and horror scripts. Typically, when you see me perform, it's mostly been poetry. I feel like my poetry is more like a call to activism most of the time. But this is a horror story I wrote. I got into grad school twice. I got into my master's program and my PhD program on the story. It's 15 years old. It's based on true stuff. I'll tell you who it's based on after I read it. This story is called A Drag Queen in the Bayou.
Yes.
There are places that are darker than others. In these places, humans breed monsters, monsters breed humans. It's hard to get inside a monster's head and understand. Bayou Blue, a small trailer park sitting between Lafourche and Terrebonne parishes, was no different. In these places, angels cry and demons smile. The rural town was dimly lit on the outskirts of Houma, Louisiana. In the distance, back in town, a boy saw a bingo hall. His life had become provoking and escaping danger. He held his injured wrist from frantically jumping out of an 18-wheeler earlier. Its driver had just tried to rape him, but the boy resisted, stabbing the man with a pin he had in his pocket and leaping from the moving truck. As he had just escaped danger once more, the boy knew he had to continue to survive. His name was Nelson, and in age, he was so close to manhood, yet mentally, he was so far away from it. Nelson walked to Terrebonne's bingo hall looking for something, looking for anything. It was warmer than usual for a December night, but Nelson still shivered from walking in the night. The clock said it was almost 8 p.m., and the hall was speckled with a handful of people. He lost his backpack. He had almost nothing. He still had some Tina, a street name for meth. Should he be left in the cold through the night? For now, it was all he needed to endure. Nelson surveyed the room through the Christmas decorations like a hawk looking for anyone that he could prey, for anyone to keep his warmth. I-23, a soft, imminent voice echoed from the microphone. Nelson had trouble believing his eyes. At the podium, a large, pale man with rough skin was dressed in a tight black gown. He sat poised on a stool. His lipstick was badly applied, wig crooked, and makeup blotchy. The man looked like he was in his early 40s. Once again, I-23, it was the strangest sight to Nelson. No one seemed to be uncomfortable with the man in the dress. Nelson then made eye contact with a very well-dressed man sitting in a suit in the back of the room, his coat hanging on his chair, watching the game contently. The man locked eyes with Nelson. He had a box of buttons and flyers sitting next to him and a table that said Stevens. Nelson took a seat at the table behind the well-dressed man. The man nodded. Cold night, huh? The man was eyeing Nelson carefully, seemingly deciding what to make of the boy. Are you lost? Sorta. Nelson had his wrist in pain. I really don't have anywhere to go right now. I'm not sure where I am right now. Nelson gave a vibe that the way the man was staring at him, he was suspicious of him. I'm Representative Stevens. You can call me Bryce. Representative Stevens extended his right hand, but he didn't trust the boy. He wasn't fond of hustlers coming off the streets and begging. He was most concerned that Donnie would be taken advantage of if harmed. Those nights that Donnie volunteered at the bingo hall calling out numbers, Stevens felt it necessary to protect who Donnie was. He was glad that he was able to talk to the owner, Clyde, and giving Donnie this freedom. I'm Nelson. Nelson avoided using his injured right hand and used his left hand to shake Representative Stevens' hand. He was in pain. Darn it, I mean I-22, a woman who was dressed in peach clothing from head to toe. Nelson lost interest in Representative Stevens. Nelson peered at the two intensely dressed ladies sitting next to each other gossiping, though they couldn't hear what he said. Nelson wondered if the ladies would be nice enough to take him home. He wondered what antiques they had in their homes and how much money he'd get from pawning items he would steal. He watched the ladies. He watched everyone in this place. He felt it was best to linger in the corner and wait for opportunity, to wait for a gift from God. Oh, hush up, Elsa. Dina found herself in a bingo card as she nudged Elsie, annoyed by her obnoxious behavior as always. She was homely in her turquoise robe. She felt in her obligation to come to the bingo hall every Monday to support Donnie or Donna or whoever Donnie felt he was. It was something Dina felt in her heart. Since her son had died, Donnie had become like a son to her. Like I said, Elsa continued whispering through her conversation he left off, I don't think Donnie Boy did anything wrong. I don't care what Linda thinks. I mean, I don't think he'd harm anybody. But Linda says a boy leaped out of his window, told the police Donnie tried to tie him up, and Donnie had to go to jail. Elsa thought Linda knew everything. Besides, she lived in the same trailer park as Donnie. Elsa always thought Donnie was an odd boy, but he was harmless, a fragile thing. Shh, he might hear you. Okay? Remember to call him Donna. Dina swatted Elsie in her whisper. Besides, that's Linda just gossiping. Oh, 69, Donna softly chuckled. You all get your minds out of the gutter. She reached her hand in the small globes of bingo balls. Okay, let's see. B4. Donna loved performing. Nothing made her happier. Bingo! Gina dumped up. Gosh darn it, I was close. This game feels rigged tonight. Elsie slapped the table. Now you know I just picked them out. Donna looked jokingly offended. I know, I'm just being difficult, Donna. Elsa looked embarrassed at the slip. Dina sat down and nudged her in the side. Since it was just the two of you in the pot, Miss Dina, here's your $8. That's the last round for tonight. Donna stood up and she grabbed a cane leaning on the podium. Now you don't mind if I perform, do you? You know we never mind, Dina assured and smiled pleasantly to Donna with her $8 in her hand. There was a small radio. Donna pushed a button and Lady Marmalade began to play. Patti LaBelle was her inspiration, her strength to endure. At times she was in sync, most of the time she was not. She attempted to sway her body around, wobbling around the podium. She occasionally reached her hand out dramatically. She felt in control. There was no pain from her leg in her life. Most importantly, there were no cravings. Elsa leaned and whispered to Dina, Lord, I just wish he'd pick a different song. Soon the song ended. I'm your bingo MC, Miss Donna LaBelle. Thank you all for coming to play bingo with me tonight. When the song ended, Donna was reminded of Donnie and who he really was, and she became scared again. She couldn't hide from him much longer. Elsa and Dina gathered their things. Reverend Stevens put on his suit coat and packed up his buttons. Nelson hung back by a vending machine. He pretended he lost money and was trying to get it out. The others met Donna at the front door. She opened it, and Elsa and Dina were the first to leave. You have a good Christmas, sweetie. Dina hugged Donnie, but she really wanted to hug. Dina hugged Donna, but she really wanted to hug Donnie. She wanted to feel him with love. Elsa stuttered. I hope the Lord is good to you this Christmas. She touched his face. I hope you get what you want. Elsa thought it had to be difficult to be Donnie. Donna seemed to trust the touch. The old ladies were gone. Donna, you take good care of yourself, Reverend Stevens asked. Your daddy doing well? Yes, sir, Donna added. Good. I appreciate you helping pass these buttons and flyers out for me. My term starts soon. I really want to clean up this town the best I can. If it's the Lord's will, Reverend Stevens gave Donna a look of concern. Look, Donnie, he paused. Look, Donna, you get changed in your normal clothes and get home safely. People are more vicious when it's cold, especially at night. Representative Stevens patted Donnie on his shoulders. If you need to come over for Christmas, you're more than welcome. I'm your uncle. Representative Stevens looked Donnie in the eyes. I know your daddy can be... You know he won't let me, Donnie said. Well, the offer's there. Representative Stevens stared at Nelson before he headed his way out of the bingo hall. I worry about you, Donnie. He left with a bad feeling. The thought of hearing his name made her cringe. But then Donna saw Nelson by the vending machine. We're close. Can I please stay for a little while, man? I mean, ma'am, it's really cold out there. Nelson pleaded and gave the man in the dress a pitiful look. Where are you coming from? Donnie asked. Thibodeau, but really all over Lafourche Parish, Nelson responded. Donna noticed the young man was holding his wrist. You okay? What happened to your wrist? A trucker said I owed him for the ride he was giving me. He was like a hungry dog. I don't like being forced to do nothing. He pulled a knife on me, so I jumped out, and now I'm here. Nelson groaned in a bit of pain. Oh, goodness. Donna felt sympathy for the young man. Do you need to go to the hospital? No, it'll be fine. I ain't got insurance. Why are you leaving Thibodeau? My girlfriend died. I'm getting away. How she died? It's not really anybody's business. And sensing the young man's pain, Donna changed the subject. If you're hungry, there's some nacho cheese still warming. It's never been busy on Mondays when I'm here. She gave Nelson some nachos and devoured them. Thanks for feeding me. I was hungry. Nelson looked up from the cheese residue in the styrofoam bowl. You're a man, right? I'm a performer. I used to perform in a bar in town, but they kicked me out. I'm sorry. The memory brought Donna back to a place on the inside that was too dark to go to. You have to leave here soon. I'll have to change and go home. Change? Can I see? No, that would make me nervous for you to see me. I want to see who you really are. This is who I really am. I'm Donna LaBelle. Okay, well then who are you all the other time? No one. No one. We all gotta be something, whether we like it or not, huh? Then who are you? I'm a killer. I killed my girlfriend. Donna looked at Nelson suspiciously. Killed? She overdosed. It was my fault. Tina killed her. I got some. I don't do drugs. Donna looked at Nelson. Does that scare you? Nelson asked. I don't scare easily, Donna said. I bet you're just as fucked up as I am. It's the people that can admit that to you that you should trust. Nelson had Donna right where he wanted him. He knew honesty was the best trap. It was the best way to lure people in. You think you can trust me? Donna hesitated a bit, then she left. When she returned, the large pale man with rough skin was dressed in jeans, a flannel shirt, wearing glasses, leaning on his cane. What's your name? Nelson asked. Donnie. He spoke with insecurity in his voice. I'm Nelson. Nelson stretched, flexing a bit to entice Donnie. It was certain that he had him in his grasp. We couldn't stay here longer. He had to milk the situation as possible. No, got to get out of here. I have to be out of here before Clyde comes here to clean. Donnie was out and he was unaware. He was craving. He was renewed and Nelson was in his grasp. Lying was the best trap, and the more lies Donnie could tell, the more lies Donnie could live. The stronger his desire became in aggressiveness, its strategy, its terror. Donnie was more powerful than Donna, and Donnie knew that, and he was pleasured by the idea. Man, I don't do anything to stay here a little while longer. For some money, Nelson gently touched Donnie. You can come back to my place. I live alone. Donnie pulled away quickly. I'm sorry to touch. That's just something gentle about you. Nelson was surprised Donnie rejected his advances. Donnie seemed like the type who needed to be touched. Nelson figured all he had to do was let the man whimper like a baby to him. Nelson would hold Donnie in his arms for a night like he had done with other weak men like Donnie. Hopefully by morning, Nelson would sneak out of home and better off than he came in. Did I do something wrong? No. Donnie knew that Nelson had done exactly what he wanted. Lady Marmalade played softly, almost angelic in the background as Nelson rode with Donnie in his car. How long have you been calling out numbers? Nelson asked as Donnie's Buick drove down Highway 182. They were heading out of home at city limits towards Bayou Blue. The area was dark and mysterious. Nelson wanted to get to Donnie's home already and do whatever he had to do to get the night over with, heading wherever he needed to go from here. A few years. Clyde lets me volunteer on Mondays. He lets me be myself, Donnie said with a deep gratitude. It's usually really slow, though. You mind me asking what happened to your leg? Nelson asked. Why do you limp? Donnie waited to lie about it, but he didn't. My daddy ran over me when I was a kid. Got mad at me because I was late getting home one day. He was following me home, following close behind his truck, making me pedal fast. My bike lost control, I fell, and he ran over my leg. He said it was just my fault and that God punished me because I'm hard-headed. A sadness deepened in Donnie's voice. Your daddy did that? Nelson looked in disbelief. Swear on my life, he's dead now. Donnie didn't think it would make sense to tell Nelson that his father was very much alive and waiting for Donnie to return home. Donnie thought he might lose his opportunity, this Christmas gift for himself. I thought I heard that politician man ask me how your daddy was doing. You must have heard wrong. He asked me how I was doing since my daddy died. I told you I live alone. I didn't say you didn't. I just thought I heard. Nelson thought in his head a bit and let it go. Never mind. I must have heard wrong. Shoot, I have to get gas. I've been driving on empty for a couple of days. I'm sure I will run out soon. I'd hate for us to have to push my car home. Donnie looked nervously at his gas light. A dim chevron light was in the distance. It was alone. Paul's store, a place Donnie was not welcomed. Just stop here then. Nelson was getting a bit nervous. He was wondering what Donnie may want him to do. He thought he may need a boost soon to help him get through the night. A little Tina. I can't get gas here. There, Paul's working. Who's Paul? Doesn't matter. Paul doesn't like me. Come on, I got your back. Donnie pulled his Buick into the two-pump gas station. He wobbled with his cane inside the store. Nelson walked just out in front of him. The door opened and Paul was waiting. Get out of my store. The clerk, his forehead wrinkled with wisdom one only gets when they encounter demons, stood behind the counter and spoke calmly. I don't want no trouble, Paul. I just need to get gas, Donnie pleaded. I know what you are. I do, Paul grimaced. Is this because he's dressed up like a woman? Nelson walked towards Paul, hoping to intimidate him. Paul pulled out a gun and laid it on the counter. Nelson leaped out of the store quickly, leaving Donnie by himself. I'm not selling you shit. Paul spit into a plastic bottle. He's wiped his lips with his hand. I want you to go pump $1 of gas in your tank and slither your ass to 7 miles up back to your store, to your home. Paul rotated the muzzle of the gun towards Donnie. But I don't think I can make it that far. I can't make it to Chet's store on $1 worth of gas. Yeah, but you can make it to your home. If you pump more than $1 in your tank or you show your face here again, I promise I'll find a way to get you arrested. Donnie's face quivered with a look of fear. I know you don't want to go to jail. I know that scares you. There was something about Donnie that didn't sit well with Paul. He believed that Donnie tried to kill the boy in his trailer. He believed it. Maybe getting arrested would do you some good. Must be rough trying to be you in this town. Nelson looked behind him towards the Chevron as they drove away, but only darkness. Lady Marmalade ended and began again. We should go home in a bit. I'll just have to walk to Chet's store in the morning for gas. Nelson reached into his pocket, pulled out some full with small crystals in it, and a glass pipe. You mind if I take a hit of this? It loosens me up with strangers, at least the ones I trust. Hell, I'd do anything. Nelson thought Donnie was harmless and a little stupid. Anything? Donnie grinned. His prey was here, and he eyed some rope he had tried to use before in his back seat. Well, then help. Then please help yourself. Donnie thought the boy was harmless and very stupid. Nelson lit the pipe and inhaled. He became vulnerable, and at least more vulnerable than he already was. Donnie crept the Buick into the Bayou Blue trailer park community. All 12 lots were calm and vacant of movement. The Buick slithered to a stop. Donnie parked at a white and green trailer marked number 6. It was the only trailer faced away from the road towards a dark bayou. Donnie grabbed the rope. I had to tie my trunk down today, Donnie insisted. A TV was blaring loud enough to be heard outside the trailer. Donnie motioned for Nelson to be quiet. Donnie trotted from the car to inside quickly, and Nelson followed, slightly confused. Nelson seemed at ease with the world, but the TV sounds caught his attention. And why is that TV up so loud? My daddy always blares the TV. I tuned it out. I thought your daddy was dead. I mean, he used to blare the TV. It's not too long since he passed. To be honest, I leave it on and loud so I can feel like someone's living here. The only thing that could be heard in the trailer was the loud TV coming from the hallway. Donnie walked to the light coming from the cracked door. He peered in and saw his father laying on his back. His large stomach moved up and down slowly. Nelson watched Donnie try to peer into the crack. Nelson was fidgeting. Donnie pointed his head to another room, and Nelson creeped inside. The room looked as if a child had lived in it. There was a small Snoopy lamp. The bedroom window was duct tape. The glass was missing. It occurred to Nelson that maybe not get as much as money as he thought, considering the condition of Donnie's room. So how much money you going to give me? Nelson rubbing himself. Why don't you sit in this chair and take it easy, Donnie pointed. Nelson sat down, fidgeting with his clothes, rubbing himself gently. He leaned back in the chair and closed his eyes. He was feeling speedy and anxious, ready to get it over with. I have to be quick, Donnie whispered and moved behind Nelson. What? Nelson grinned with pleasure. Why? Donnie took his cane and smacked Nelson's skull that made a cracking noise. Nelson was bewildered. His body convulsed and he whimpered. Donnie limped quickly and grabbed a pillow off his bed. He took it and grabbed Nelson's head and forced his head into the pillow, pressing his head tightly into suffocation. Nelson tried to struggle loose and breathe, but he couldn't. His soft mumbles could not be heard by anyone. Donnie took the pillow away from Nelson's face and found Nelson's eyes still open, and he was lifeless. Donnie took his monstrous hands and touched the boy's lips. Donnie kissed his lips. He rubbed the corpse all over to feel each body part. Donnie hugged it tight. He took his cane and probed Nelson's mouth with it. Donnie, the voice of his daddy interrupted. Sir? Donnie paralyzed with movement to listen. What's that noise? His daddy called to Donnie. I stumbled, Daddy. Donnie waited for a response, but there was not one. Heat me up a frozen dinner. His father's voice snarled like a demon waiting patiently from an elevator to hell. Donnie wobbled to the bed and let his cane drop to the floor. Nelson's eyes stared towards the broken window. There was a radio in the room. Donnie pushed a button and Lady Marmalade played. He wished Donna would come back, but she wasn't there. She could have stopped this. I'll be right back. Donnie kissed Nelson and turned off the Snoopy lamp. He hurried to his father's once In the dark, the door to Donnie's room opened and shut. Nelson's corpse sat lifeless as Lady Marmalade echoed from the silence and seeped through the window out of the trailer park into the darkness. Humanity floated away into the night, and hanging in the air above the Bayou Blue was Donna, far from within reach. Thank you. Okay. So just as I walk off, this story was based on Ronald Dominique, who was a serial killer in the early 2000s who killed about 23 men. One of the reasons I want to bring awareness to is that when things happen to trans or queer people, people are really silent about it. And I think it's time that we bring more awareness to the victims of our community and things that happen. So this story is dedicated to those people. Thank you.